Keep thinking.
Just keep your eye out without Mr. Bandit.
Let me have a Diablo sandwich of Dr. Pepper. Make it fast. I'm in a goddamn hurry.
You want something?
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm here with my buddy Bert. You know, the other day we were talking about Smokey and the Bandit, his biggest movie of all time. And in that movie there was a sandwich called the Diablo sandwich. Then years later I was working on a film called K9 with Jim Belushi, and I met a driver who worked on Smokey and the Bandit. And he was the one that told me the truth about the Diablo sandwich. And it wasn't made in the restaurant in the movie. It was actually made on the catering truck and taken out to the set for every shot. So I got the recipe. We're making the authentic Diablo sandwich next. What do you think? Wow, we're doing it next. All right, having a little fun with Burt Reynolds today. Anyways, let's get started on this world famous Diablo sandwich. I got a chuck roast. I'm going to cut into about 3 or 4 large pieces. You don't want to make them bite-sized because at the end we're going to shred the meat. And it's a lot easier to shred when you have big pieces as opposed to bite-sized pieces. So we'll trim off any excess fat and cut this up into 4 or 5 nice sized pieces. And while I'm doing that, if I could remind you to please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment if you can. It really helps. I appreciate it. And thank you all for watching. So once we get this meat cut up, we're going to get out our large non-stick frying pan. And either olive oil or a little avocado oil, or since it's non-stick, you really don't need any oil. Turn the heat to medium, and we're going to start to brown this meat up. So we're going to cook this meat just for a few minutes on each side to give it some nice color. Then we're going to transfer the meat to our crock pot. So get your crock pot ready, because once we are done with the frying pan, pretty much everything else is going to be done in the crock pot and a blender. So I got my crock pot out, and I'm going to set it to 4 hours on high. Spray with a little non-stick so the meat doesn't stick. And I'll put the meat in there, pop the lid on, and we'll let that get started. And while that's getting started, we're going to get started on our sauce. So we're going to need 2 kinds of dry peppers. Pasilla, which are these that you see here. We're going to cut the tops off, open them up and get all the seeds out. And I've got my blender full of warm water. So once we get the seeds out, we're going to pop those dry chilies into the blender. And the other package of dried chili is the New Mexico. So we'll do the same, cut those open, get the seeds out, put them into the blender, and let them start to rehydrate. Make sure you either wear gloves when you do this, or make sure you wash your hands immediately after doing this, because if you touch your face, your eyes, you're not going to like it. Next, I've got 1 onion. We're just going to quarter up. I've got 2 Anaheim peppers that I'm going to take the lids off and take the seeds out. And I've got 1 red jalapeno. I'm also going to take the seeds out. And we're going to cut these up. Get our food processor out. And we're going to load it up and chop up all these vegetables. Just like that. Alright, now let's get our non-stick out again. Hit it with some good olive oil. I got the heat on medium. We're going to add those veggies that we just diced up to the pan. And we're going to saute those for about 5 or 6 minutes. We're going to add about a teaspoon of cumin. Give that a mix. Then we're going to need 1 small can of chipotles in adobo sauce. We're going to use 2 peppers and all the sauce we can get out of the can and add that right in. Then we'll mix that up good. Then all we have left is to add a little bit of fresh ground pepper and salt. And move on to our blender. Our peppers are rehydrated, so we're going to drain out all the water out of the blender. And then we're going to take all these peppers that we just sauteed, add those to the blender. And we'll add about 2 cups or 1.5 cups of beef broth. We're going to put the lid on and hit this guy on high and just let it work its magic. And just let that run. You want to blend this up as good as you can. You don't want any large chunks. And once we have it all blended up, we're going to pour that right over our meat. There we go. And we're just going to let this cook for about 3 hours or until this meat is super fork tender. So just let it go. 3 hours later, we'll come back and we'll check the doneness of the meat. And you'll see here the fork has no problem going in and out. That is done. So we're going to remove the meat, set it to the side. And then we're going to take ourselves, or get ourselves a nice strainer. And we're going to start ladling the sauce over the strainer into a large 4-cup container. And use our spatula. And you just want the stuff on the bottom, that nice, clear, smooth sauce. And we'll set that to the side. Now we're going to take our meat, put it into our KitchenAid with the paddle to shred it up. If you don't have the setup here, you're going to have to use 2 forks and work a little bit. But this way is much easier. So put the meat in and let that run for just a few seconds. Just to shred that meat. You don't want to over shred it. That's about it right there. And now we're going to pop it open. And we're going to add a nice ladle of our sauce right into that meat. Add some more flavor to it. Some more Diablo. And we'll hit it again, mix it up. And now we're ready to build our sandwich. So I've got a nice roll with 1 slice of pepper cheese, slice of red onion, good heaping serving of the Diablo beef, then another slice of pepper jack cheese. That'll go on top. And then we're going to put the lid on. Serve it with the pickle, a little ramekin of extra sauce to dip the sandwich into. And you are ready for the original Smoking the Bandit Diablo sandwich, as it was told to me back in the 80s from one of the drivers that worked on the film. All right, enjoy this Diablo, and we'll see you on the next one.